Hi, this is Tim Messink for Cloud Craze, and this video will be covering the use of configuration settings in the Cloud Craze Managed package. Assuming you're running version 4 or 5 or higher and you have enabled configuration settings and no longer using page settings, this video will be applicable to you. So first, let's start at the wiki page. There is configuration settings index page. It's under the CCSW, and you can click into this, and these are all of the configurable settings in the Cloud Craze software. This index has been updated for version 4.6. So keep in mind that some of these configurations may be for a version that you are not running. So not all of these will work in your version. So let's say, for sake of the exercise, I have a storefront that I've got up here. I've logged in as this customer, and breadcrumbs are turned on. And what I want to do is I want to turn those breadcrumbs off. This Cloudburst store, this is called the default store. So I'd come to the configuration settings index page and find something related to breadcrumbs. I could Control F or scroll down the top half and click into breadcrumbs. There is a widget called breadcrumbs that the API name is called enabled. If this is set to true, then it will show breadcrumbs on the page. So since this is on in this particular storefront, let's go to my Salesforce instance on the CCSW tab. The storefront I'm after is called Default Store. I will go to the Configuration Settings button for the default store. Once that loads, I will select the module for breadcrumbs and look for a configuration setting called enabled. This value is currently set to true, and what's good to know is that it is this checkbox of display global is on, so it's going to show me configuration settings that are global, as well as those for the storefront that I have currently active when I'm clicking the configuration settings. So in this case, the global value for enabling breadcrumbs is true, so that means that every storefront it will be turned on, as long as I do not have an override on at the storefront level that turns something off. So let's go ahead and override the global value from true. I'll click on override. It will load in breadcrumb module enabled for all pages. I'm going to set this to false. And create. Now what we see is, because I have this checked, I show a global value is set to true. However, I'm overriding that at the storefront level to be set to false. This is the recommended way when a new feature comes out. If you're going to enable it, you may want to consider globally disabling it and then enabling it for a specific storefront. That would probably be the best way. You wouldn't want to globally enable something and then you'd turn it on all storefronts. So I've enabled it on the configuration. However, one final step is I need to activate the new configuration. So I click into Global Settings. I go to Configuration Cache Management. The last configuration cache was built about 3 hours ago, 3.5 hours ago. I'm going to build new. And then I will refresh this list. They take a few seconds for a new one to show up as building. And while this is building, let's talk about configuration cache management. This is a complete configuration cache object that is generated based on the configuration settings at this point in time. And it's always good to have some history here so that I can, in the event that what I'm testing right now in my sandbox, it doesn't work, I can deactivate that one that I just created and reactivate the old one, and then put my configuration back to what it was very quickly. But what we'd want to do is make sure that we go back to the configuration itself and remove the one that I incorrectly set. So let's refresh this list. Still building. Little housekeeping, we'll go ahead and remove some of these older ones. Want to keep this list down to about maybe 2 or 3. Go ahead and refresh. Okay, so here's the new cache that was built a few minutes ago. Appropriate way to do this is activate this one, the new one. Now it says I've got 2 of these active. It always takes the most recently built cache, that's the one that's actually running, and then I deactivate the old one. The reason why I do that is I always want to have a configuration running for cache for my storefronts. I don't want to deactivate this and then have none running because all my storefronts would break. So I have successfully disabled breadcrumbs, rebuilt my cache, and activated it. Now let's go back to this storefront and let's refresh the page. If this worked, this breadcrumbs should disappear. Refresh the page, and you can see the breadcrumbs is now gone. So let's just navigate through this a little bit, make sure the breadcrumbs don't show back up. As you can see, I'm clicking into products, my breadcrumbs is not showing up. So that's the way to enable or disable a particular widget using configuration settings. Thank you.